quickly, I do want to ask you about one of the most certainly talked about issues right now in our country, and that is the war in Gaza. We know that Israel has plans to enter Rafah in the coming days. Where do you see this going, both internationally and domestically?
Well, I think that Bibi Netanyahu is right. Hamas has to be destroyed. My concern is then what? The problem is that Hamas is popularly supported by the Palestinians. What happened on October 7th is popularly supported by people living in Gaza. Israel pulled out of Gaza in 2005. One of the candidates who ran was a woman who had 4 or 5 sons, 2 of whom were killed because they were homicide bombers. And she publicly said something to the effect of, I only wish I had had more sons to devote to jihad. She got elected. So I don't see any real distinction between the ideology of Hamas and the majority of Palestinians. So that's my concern. When the 15,000 or so Palestinian fighters are eliminated, and that's what Bibi Netanyahu's goal is, you still have not eliminated the culture. Kids are born and raised hating Jews, not just hating Jews in Israel, hating Jews anywhere and everywhere. And that's Hamas's goal, not just to destroy Israel, but to find and destroy Jews all over the country. How do you defeat that culture? This is a culture that's been endemic since the beginning of the creation of the State of Israel. And anti-Semitism is an age-old phenomenon that's happened in a bunch of places, including the Middle East, including places like Spain with the Spanish Inquisition, in France with the Dreyfus affair. All sorts of instances of Jew hatred has gone on for millennia. So I don't know how you defeat that. My problem is the pressure that Joe Biden is putting on Netanyahu for a ceasefire without an agreement to return the 150 or so odd hostages, including 8 Americans, that Gaza still has held hostage. Israel is facing, to me, a more existential threat than it's faced since their creation. And what happened on October 7th is the most horrific thing that's happened to Jews since the Holocaust. Mm-hmm. And how any right-thinking, moral person can feel that what Israel should do is anything other than what they're doing is beyond me. But Joe Biden is held to his left flank. People like Ilhan Omar and AOC, and he's afraid of losing Michigan because of the, I think, 200,000 Muslims who live there and will vote, so that he's now done something that presidents before him have not done, which basically is to turn his back on Israel. So I'm not pleased with what's going on. I think Bibi Netanyahu needs to finish the job, and then we'll hopefully see what happens. You can't have a 2-state solution when one state wants you destroyed. Golda Meir, the former prime minister of Israel, put it best when she said something to the effect of, if the Palestinians laid down their arms, there would be peace. If we lay down our arms, there would be slaughter. And that's what's going on here. Until you change that equation, I don't know how you solve this.
You're absolutely right. And obviously, the United States abstaining from that UN Security Council vote was, in my view, despicable.
It was.
Because President Biden is trying to play both sides. He's trying to act morally neutral here. But what he doesn't realize is that he's not being neutral. An indecision is a decision. So I agree with you. I will say, however, that as much as I and any moral person completely agrees with Israel's need to wipe out Hamas, it is unclear to me how this is going to work out long term for Israel. To your point, the population is so radicalized. Indeed, this invasion has, fomented so much anti-Israel, anti-Jew hatred. It was already there to begin with, but all around the world. And Israel's in an impossible situation, but I think it is worth noting, what is the long-term plan here? How is this going to work out?
Julie, when I was around your age, I was 21 years old, and I had my 21st birthday in Jerusalem.
Wow, that's a fun 21st birthday.
I had a big afro, and I was wearing an army jacket. My little brother was in the army. And I was walking through the old city, through the Palestinian section. And I'm walking, and I turn around, and I see about 5 or so Palestinian kids following me. They were just fascinated. And so I kept walking, and I stopped, turned around. There were 25 of them. I kept walking. I stopped. I turned around. There were about 50 kids just following me. So I stopped, and they all kind of surrounded me, and I held a press conference. One of them could speak English pretty well, and they asked me 3 questions. The first one was, do you know Angela Davis, the communist?
Yes.
Who was tried for murder and for kidnapping. She was acquitted. Black Panther. And I said, personally? And they said, yes. I said, no. And about a third of them left. Then they asked me if I knew Muhammad Ali. I said, personally? And they said, yes. I said, no. Another third left. Then they asked me if I knew karate, the martial art. And I said, no. And the rest of them left. Now, I told that story many times until 9/11. And people would laugh. After 9/11, I realized it wasn't funny, because this is all these kids knew about America. Angela Davis was a communist who made all sorts of anti-American comments, and the kids knew about her. Muhammad Ali renounced Christianity and became a Muslim, and of course he was heavyweight champ. They knew about him. And karate, because if you walk around the old city, on the walls you saw all these posters of martial arts movies that they imported from America. They didn't know Martin Luther King, didn't know about the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, Jefferson. They knew nothing at all about what America really stood for. They just knew Angela Davis, Muhammad Ali, and karate. This is all they know. This is all they're taught. If you look at the textbooks in the West Bank and in Gaza, they're replete with anti-Semitic tropes. This is what they're taught, what they know. Mm-hmm. And I remember having a conversation with a Palestinian who living in Israel, but he hated Israel. And he said, Israel's evil. And I said, does Israel have a bomb? And he said, yes. I said, why hasn't Israel used it? He said, well, because of public opinion, world public opinion. I said, I thought you just said Israel was evil. Evil doesn't care about public opinion. Why hasn't Israel used a bomb? Let me put it this way. If you guys had a bomb, would you use it on Israel? And he wouldn't answer the question.